y'all, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and this is my review for Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 7, episode 1, and I'm excited because I really feel like these women are about to give me what I need, okay? They're about to give me what I need. But the main house rule over here is you can have discourse with me. If you don't agree with my opinion, you can get down in my comments and be like, nah, Leah, this is how I see it, or this is how I see it. But when you start getting disrespectful and ignorant and just nasty, I'm hitting that block button. You will get blockety block. We're not doing that, okay? I am a small channel. I just reached 500 subscribers, and thank you to everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate y'all. Like, that was like my goal for the summer. Even though I didn't make it before the end of the summer, I still made it, and I really do appreciate y'all. Like, for real, I really do. But I see y'all wilding out on channels with thousands upon thousands of more subscribers than me, and I be like, whoa. Y'all be in the streets windmilling, okay, for your lives. Defending these women like we going to war in a couple of hours. We not doing that over here. We're not. So like I said, you don't have to agree with me. You can even voice your difference of opinions in my comment section. But the moment I feel like you being nasty or you're getting nasty, blocked. But let's get into this review because I want to have fun with y'all. So let's go. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up and it's the Cherry Blossom Festival. So if you don't know, I grew up in the DMV area. I'm the V in DMV. I grew up in Northern Virginia. So I kind of agree with Karen and Giselle when they were like, this has always been in our backyard, and like we never really pay attention to it. And that's just kind of true. Like if you go once, it's kind of like, oh, you don't need to go again. The flowers are beautiful, but it's just like, if that's not your cup of tea, you're not going to be really into it. Where they were was near like the Washington Monument and I think the mall and the Smithsonian area. That's normally where you see the flowers bloom the most. But for me, normally when I see them, it just signifies to me that spring is coming. Or like spring is here. It doesn't really do much for me. But we actually have an OG picnic. We have the 4 OGs, Robin, Giselle, Karen, and Ashley. And like I've said before, last season, I was like, I feel like somebody needs to be demoted. I really do. But what I will say is this is unique to Real Housewives of Potomac, is that we've had Giselle, Robin, and Karen, and Ashley since season 1. The only other franchise that has something similar to that would be Kandi being the longest running housewife out of all the franchises. But she technically would not be considered an OG because she didn't hop on the scene for Real Housewives of Atlanta until season 2. So this is unique to Real Housewives of Potomac. And that's cool and whatever. But I still think somebody need to be let go or demoted. That's just me. But like I said, it's an OG picnic. Everybody is sitting down. Just, they're all catching up with each other. They talk about that picture they took last year, and they were giggling about that. And I think that was like after the reunion or sometime after the reunion. But, they were just sitting down and just catching up. So the main 2 things that was the topic of conversation was Ashley getting a divorce from the gremlin, from the White Walker, and then Mia's cancer scare. So first was Ashley, and y'all, I hope they don't be showing Ashley's TikToks because they're cringy to me. The secondhand embarrassment. And my thing is, like, I've seen multiple videos of Ashley doing the little TikTok dances, and there's only been 2 videos I've seen where I'm like, oh, okay, Ashley is keeping in rhythm, like she getting it. All the other ones give me pause and they give me cringe because I'm like, why don't you have rhythm? Why can't you catch the beat? What is wrong? So they're sitting down and they're talking, and Ashley, they're like, you're really gonna get a divorce from Michael, like what is going on? Because Giselle says, tells Ashley, well, Ashley, I've let the ladies know that you're getting a divorce from Michael. And they're like, what happened? Like, I thought you guys were good. And she's like, basically they're moving in 2 totally different directions as to where they see their future going. Ashley wants to be a traditional, like, a monogamous relationship, no drinking, just like a regular, I would say regular, whatever would be regular, just basically like a basic family. Like, we don't drink, we out here, switching partners It's just you and me. Michael still wants to have the lifestyle he had before the kids came, where they did drink. So there's not going to be any more Corona Princess Ashley. And Michael wants to still like swing and do threesomes. And she just didn't want that. She gave us an example of where Michael and her were like in Miami. This girl was feeling Ashley, and Michael wanted to like, join in, and she was just like, no, I'm not down with that. I don't even want to do that. And it just went from there. And so Giselle's like, I'm confused. Like, so because you didn't want to have a threesome, he wanted to get a divorce. And she's like, no, it was just a buildup of things. And she's like, right now we're separated in Virginia. We have to be separated for at least a year before we can go through with the divorce. But I'm getting a divorce. And they're like, okay, well, we can support you in any way. Like the lady's like, we want to be here for you. And then Karen's like, girl, I hope you're ready, because Ashley might throw skeletons, like, bones out in the streets to paint you in a bad light. But when he does it to you, you need to throw the whole entire skeleton to get him off of you. And then that's when we found out Karen has had a divorce. I didn't know Karen got divorced. I always thought her and Ray had been together for, like, that was like her only marriage. But Karen is speaking from experience. She's just like, girl, it gonna get nasty. It can get nasty. But Ashley's whole thing is like, I don't think it's gonna get nasty. She then talks about wanting to buy a house with Michael, and they're gonna do it under the LLC. And that's when Karen has a moment where she's just kind of like, if you're getting a divorce, why are you getting a house with Michael? That doesn't make sense. Excuse me. And Ashley is just like, well, I'm not financially where I want to be to get the house that I want, but Michael is, and he and I have been talking about getting us a house. And sorry, y'all. And everyone on the blanket is like, girl, what do you mean? Like, Robin is like, I wouldn't buy a house with someone I'm getting a divorce with. Like, why are you doing that? And Giselle said the same thing. Like, all three of them are looking at her like, that doesn't make sense. Ashley, like, why would you say you're going to get a divorce, but then you're going to buy a house with the man you're getting a divorce with? So everyone's kind of like, But Karen makes note of where she's saying, I don't think Ashley really wants to get a divorce. I think she just wants to move out of that concrete jungle, i.e. the city, and move to the suburbs of either Maryland, Virginia. And that's about it. And honestly, y'all, I don't even think Ashley wants to get a divorce from Michael. I think Ashley genuinely loves Michael, but I also think Ashley is trying to play this game of like how far she can go with Michael to where she can get what she wants, because that doesn't make sense to me. Why are you purchasing a home with someone you say you're getting a divorce with? And then this whole like this facade of everyone thinking that Michael has the wealth that he has. Them living in that penthouse, that cramped penthouse with all them kids' toys everywhere, because you clearly can tell that Ashley and Michael are not teaching their children to pick up after themselves, lets me know that Michael doesn't have the money that he has. I heard that Michael allegedly owns the building that penthouse is in, and that's why they stay there. But my thing is, there's plenty of nice size, beautiful penthouses in downtown DC that has enough room to where Ashley would be okay with them living there. I'm like, if you wanted this to like go away, or Michael wanted Ashley to just shut up and be quiet and just they'd be good, then he would have moved her into a bigger penthouse, especially if he still wanted to stay in the city. But the fact that he hasn't done that makes me feel like he ain't got no money the way y'all think he does. And then everyone feeling like, oh, Ashley's being smart. She trying to play like she's stupid so she can get money. The truth of the matter is, I don't think Ashley is dumb, but I also don't think Michael is dumb. Y'all constantly every season are talking about, oh, Ashley trying to get a bag from Michael. Ashley, that's all the reason why she with him and stuff like that. I'm like, y'all act like Michael doesn't read comments or listen to what's going on. I guarantee you, Michael would be spiteful and give Ashley the money that she wants, but tell her that you can't touch it, only the kids can when they hit 18. So for the next couple of years, Ashley would probably have to take care of herself. So I'm just kind of like, Michael don't give me, I'm stupid for some coochie. Michael gives very much of like, I know what I want. I know what you're here for. I know why I married you. And if I want to, I can play these games with you if you want to play these games with me. And I don't even like the pasty demon. I don't like that man. But I'm just kind of like, y'all sound stupid to me. They do. So then they move over to Mia, and they're all talking about how Mia's cancer post was very concerning. Giselle and Robin are on the guise of like, it was very attention seeking. Karen is like, yeah, it was kind of weird. I wouldn't do that, but I'm going to give her some grace because like, just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean what she did was wrong. Ashley's under the impression that she has cancer, but they're like, she never said she had cancer. So then they talk about her editing the post, and she did edit that post. And they're just kind of like, it just feels like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And my thing is, like I said in my last video, you should check it out, the drama video. Mia to me is emotionally manipulative because she uses buzzwords. Everybody that lives in the DMV area knows when you say John Hopkins Center, that's either you going there for like the VA hospital type stuff or it's cancer. That is just what comes to mind. And for her even to like, and my thing is like, I'm not even saying that like she wasn't scared. She's allowed to be scared. Everyone's allowed to be scared when you think you're about to like, you have a terminal illness that's going to like just take you out. But the truth of the matter is that the way that post was worded left it up to your own discretion for you to think like, oh crap, this lady is really sick and has been diagnosed with it. But then to come back a month later and be like, oh no, I don't have it, I'm still getting tested. It's like you could have updated the people a lot sooner. Like, them tests don't take that long, ma'am. Blood work does not take that long. Or you even getting like x-rays or MRI scans. Like, ma'am, like Mia did that to play on people's emotions. And it worked because some people legit was out here like, oh my God, pray for her. Pray for her. And it wasn't that. But it seems like Giselle and Robin want to have a conversation with Mia because they like Mia, but they feel like the way Mia been moving on social media, it's very concerning. It's very concerning. So let's move on to the next scene. The next scene we have is of Candace and Chris. They're actually on their way to the doctor. They're going to like a fertility specialist. Candace is in the process of wanting to freeze her eggs. Or, you know, freeze her embryos, as she was saying. Her and Chris are there, and they kind of get into a spat in front of the doctor, where the doctor is like, you have to put needles in her stomach every so often, like throughout the week, at the same time consistently. And there can't be no reason for you not to like come in. Like, you have to be consistent, and y'all have to get on a schedule. Well, it seems like Chris, he got a new job. He is now like, I guess, the general manager for this bar that's really popular in the DC area. And his schedule is out of whack. Like, sometimes he comes home at 1 a.m. Sometimes he's off. Sometimes this, and this. And Candace is like, she's having a hard time getting used to his schedule because she got used to him being home, working from home during the pandemic. And Chris is like annoyed. But I feel like in the car, they were both just hangry. Like, she hit Chris while they left, like, in the car when they were going to get food. And she was just saying, like, what are your thoughts about it? And then they got into an argument about his schedule. And he was just like, girl, both of our schedules are unpredictable. And it's kind of like, Candace, your schedule is also unpredictable because it's like, girl, you're a recording artist. You were on tour because she opened up for Faith Evans, Maya, and I think SWV. It's like you're also in graduate school. It's like you can't be saying that Chris's schedule is so unpredictable and not be like your schedule's unpredictable. As well as when they were in the car, he said, you're not effing listening to me. And Candace was like, you better stop cussing at me, but then cussed at him. And I was like, both of y'all are just hungry. This is anger. This is angry talking. Like, it was not that serious for y'all to be in that car upset. But I feel like they gonna get it together because I did see on Twitter that she did get her eggs, what's it called? She did get her eggs collected and frozen. So clearly they figured out how to work this schedule out. But I do understand, like, women wanting to freeze their eggs. Like, you don't want your career hindered because you are because you need to have a baby in a certain finite time. Like, you know, you want to be able to have your kids when you're ready to have your kids. So if you're able to freeze your eggs. The only thing that sucks is it's not readily available to everybody because it is so expensive, because the process is a tedious process and a very difficult process to make sure that the eggs stay alive as you're collecting them and stuff like that a lot of people don't have that option. I think to really freeze your eggs is like maybe between like 10 to like 20,000, or maybe lower than that, because I'm trying to remember, like I saw on Grown Up Hip Hop where Angela was doing it. I think the lady said between like 60, like 6K to almost like 20K, depending on how many times you do the process, I guess. But yeah, Chris and Candace, I was like, y'all fighting for no reason. This is angry. This is like, I'm hungry and I'm angry talking. Like, because I feel like they probably could have had a better conversation without all of that if they was eating. Angry. Just angry. So then we actually get to see Miss Charisse, Miss Shasha, and Robin meet up. And Robin tells us that like she's known Charisse the longest, which is true because Charisse's ex-husband used to coach the Wizards, the Washington Wizards, and Juan was on their team, and then that's how they got together, the real Sunbeams. Shout out to the game. And they just had a moment. And what Robin said was true when she said Charisse is the real grand dame, because she is. Charisse is the reason we get to see all these women. If you don't know, Charisse was the one who actually called all these ladies on board to the show, because the show wasn't even going to be a spinoff of, like, not a spinoff, but a franchise for Real Housewives at all. It was supposed to be something else about like Jack and Jill's kids and stuff like that. But then that community was like, y'all not about to play with us and expose all our, all our issues. So they switched it to Real Housewives of Potomac. And then they had Charisse go out and like she told them like, oh, I think she would do it. She's the one who got us Giselle. She's the one who got us Robin, and she's the one who got us Karen. So at the end of the day, Charisse is the real grand dame. And y'all, the people that be hating on Charisse because of that bird lady. And you see where she at. So take that energy over to be on that other show, because she not here no more. And I really do feel like Charisse should be like a friend of the show. If she's not a friend of the show, I feel like she should be like holding a flute, because I would like to see where she at in her life right now. She seemed a lot more happier, and she was the only one that used to get with Giselle and Karen. She had Giselle and Karen in a tizzy when she used to be on the show. So I like Charisse. I want her back. But Charisse and Robin have a conversation about Robin and her getting married. Robin, I don't even know. Like, Robin is like, she should be married, but she's being real, like, awkward about it in the confessionals. I don't know if she wants to marry Juan or not, or maybe she felt pressured because everybody's been always saying, like, what are you and Juan doing? But she wants Juan to sign a prenup. And I was just like, And so here's my thing about this. I do think they should get a prenup, but I'm looking at Robin like, girl, you're the reason y'all were poor the first seasons we met you. You lost all their money, and then that man decided to jump off a bridge. Like, you did all of that. So I would be offended, like, girl, you gonna ask me to sign a prenup when you the reason we lost our money and was in debt them years ago and was out here in the poorhouse? But I get what she was saying when she was just like, I'm getting money now. I'm the breadwinner. I don't want this man taking my money. And then she tried to say that people, like, if one person that makes the most money shouldn't have to share their money. And then, because we know Charisse got a divorce and she got her and Eddie had to like basically split everything. And Charisse was like, you don't think I deserved half? And Robin was like, no. And Charisse was like, oh, I did deserve half. And Robin even said in her confessional she didn't think she deserved half of Juan's money, even though they had a prenup and she was getting half. I said, girl, that don't make no sense. That makes no sense to me, Robin. That makes no sense. Other than you just don't want to share your money with that man at this point. And I understand. But Robin is at the point where she's just like, I'm not going to be poor no more. So if this prenup saves me, I got it. Especially after Charisse said how she spent like maybe over like $500,000 on lawyers, and Eddie spent almost $1 million. And she was like, we wouldn't have to do that if we had a prenup. So she was like, prenups are valid. Because then Charisse was like, well, did you sign a prenup? And she was like, yeah. Then she was like, there's no, like, he should sign one if you signed one. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much, if you sign one, he should sign one too. So let's move on to everything else. Y'all. So the next scene is Mia and Gordon and the kids and Mia's family at their new home. They're living in Potomac. Mia says her and Karen are basically neighbors. Like, I think she says she lives down the street from Karen. And after what happened over the weekend between the situation with Mia and Jacqueline, and then you have Mia and Gordon versus Gordon's family, this don't make no sense to me. Like, they have this beautiful home. The home is nice. The interior was nice, but they're renting for $10,000 a month. Why didn't you just purchase a home? If I'm going to pay $10,000 a month in rent, you might as well just buy the house. And then when Mia said that they did like renovations on the house for, I think she said like 60K or something else close to that. I was like, that was weird to me. Like, you're renting a house for $10,000 a month and then you did renovations. You might as well just purchase the home. So it's giving very much of, we were having issues, or I need to floss, like I got it, so now we moved into this house. It's not making sense to me. But we see Mia and her mom. Her mom asks her how she's doing, and then Mia explains to her that when she went to the doctor, they found some lumps that like were randomly in her body, I guess near her near certain areas, and that they were like kind of worried that like they would metastasize in her lungs, and so that is why she's getting so much work done. But she doesn't have cancer, they don't know what disease it is, because they're saying it might be lymphoma, but they're not totally sure. But her mom looks visibly worried because, that's her child. But it seems like they're doing better. They're not begging her to babysit her kids no more, them grandkids. But we meet her family. We then see Karen and Ray pull up, and they're there. They're excited to meet Mia and her family, introducing herself. We then have Mia making monkey noises because Karen asks like, oh, what was Mia like as a kid? And her sister was like, oh, she used to be really good at making monkey noises, and then Mia did it. And I'm not gonna lie, they were solid noises, but I was just like, girl. I would not do that on TV. I just wouldn't. But it seems like Mia is probably like, I know Mia probably has a different dad compared to her siblings, because she's the lightest one in there. Like, I was just like, oh, because I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I was just like, wow, like she is very light compared to everybody else. So I guess her dad must have been from a different, they all must have different dads, same mom, because they look the same in the face. They all different colors. But Mia and Karen sit down and they have a conversation, and Karen asks about the post. Like, she said, the girls are a little confused by your post. And Mia's whole thing was like, well, I was just a wreck, and my best friend Jacqueline, you know her. So then they do a flashback of Jacqueline, and Jacqueline is telling Mia that, I'll take care of your kids if you're not here. Then Mia responds to that by saying, I told G he could marry you if I wasn't here. I was like, how we get from this to this? Like, how do we get from y'all arguing on social media, Mia posting a video of you of old girl possibly being like in a domestic violence situation with her ex-husband or her current husband, to y'all were like, this lady was saying she'd take care of your kids if you died. Like, I was like, how do we go from this? Because that's on two opposite sides of the spectrum, like a straight 180. Like, I was like, wow. So Mia was just like, my friend Jacqueline told me to, like, you need to post it on your reel. You need to be honest. You need to be truthful with the people. And I was like, who are you for your friend to prompt you to be honest with the people? Like, girl, you were only on one season. As well as if Mia was on multiple seasons, it's not our business. Like, you could share with us if you had a scare, and then just talk about, having that scare. But to post on social media where people were legit thinking that you got diagnosed, I feel like that's wild. And like, I know some people are probably gonna be like, well, she never said she didn't have it. That's just up to y'all. But like I said, I feel like Mia is emotionally manipulative with the way she makes these posts, because she used specific words to enact people to be like, oh my God, like she roused people up. And I don't like that. I don't like when people do that. I've seen people do that, and it's just like, I was like, that to me is disgusting. I'm sorry. You can't change my opinion. That to me is disgusting. Like, that there are people who are triggered by certain things, because it's so common for all of us that when you do these types of things, I just look at you with like, okay. And then Mia always wants to do this where she tries to get behind a cause and then make it about something. She did it with them candles last year, and then got called out by the person who actually owned the candles when she was trying to beef with Wendy and be a part of like Candlegate. And the person who actually made those candles or had the campaign for the candles came out and came at her. And then all of a sudden she had to rework her post that she posted and then tried to say like, oh, she works for a wholesaling business. So it was like, you were caught then. You were caught then. Then with this cancer thing, you're trying to hop on that bandwagon. And then with the DV situation, you're trying to use that. You're trying to say that like you're a part of like no violence and domestic violence type situation. Like you're trying to be like, oh, our domestic violence awareness, but you weren't doing that. You were trying to shade your friend and paint her in a bad light. And even with the whole pray for our family thing, you're doing the same thing with Gordon's family. You're just trying to cast them in a negative light. So I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it with her. I can't. So we then have a scene with Wendy and Peter Thomas from Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia's ex-husband, and low-key, a word on the street is her and Mike Hill getting a divorce too. Good Lord, Cynthia. Ah! But we see Peter, the original house husband, a good house husband, because Peter used to give us moments. Why are you in women's business, Peter? Patricia, but Wendy and Peter meet up. The craziest thing is like I actually know somebody who worked at Bar One in Charlotte, and they was like he actually like a really nice guy. I was like for real, like that person was like yeah no he cool peoples. So I'm like I don't know because I always thought Peter was probably like what's the word shifty because all his businesses were always closing down. So I was like oh I bet you he has like he's not good in the hospitality business. But then when my friend who I feel like is a pretty good judge of character, and she was like, no, he's actually like really cool, down to earth, and like he cool to kick it. I was like, oh, okay, I could get with Peter. But she met up with Peter. Peter overheard her having a conversation with someone that is also named Wendy, who like they're cool with, and Wendy introduced Wendy to Peter. And basically, Wendy wants to open up a lounge that at first she said she wants it to be like a library by day and a lounge by night. And Peter had to tell her, girl, that's not going to work. I said, yeah. I was like, do you want a youth center? Because that's what that sounds like. You want a youth center. Because I was like, girl, that don't make sense. That did not make sense to me. I was like, a library by day in a lounge by night. And when Peter said no one's going to be around a bunch of kids while they trying to get turned up and jacked up, I said, yeah. I was like, Wendy, that don't make sense. I was like, girl, that makes no sense, sis. No sense. So, Wendy was like, okay, and she's writing everything down. She finds out that like if her and Peter go into it, because Peter already has like a location he wants to do, that like she would be 20% owner, so she would have to put in 20% of the profits to go and purchase the building, which I think he was like $300,000 because the building would be at least 1.5 million, I think he said. And then Peter told her, like, realistically, you're not going to get, like, profit back for, like, almost 2 years. I think he said 18 months to 24 months. And she was like, for real? And I was like, girl. And then we get this montage of all the things Wendy is involved with. She's doing her book. She's selling her candles. She's doing speaking engagements. And it's like her husband, Eddie is like, girl, you doing too much. Like, you want to do another business venture, which is this lounge, but you can barely do the things you do, as well as I think she's still a teacher. And I was like, yeah, Wendy, sit down. Like, you don't want to be like a jack of all trades and a master of none. I think that's how it goes. Is it a master? Yeah, I think I said it right. My bad. I think I said it right. But I was just like, yeah, Wendy, sit down somewhere. Like, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot. Like, you have your book coming out. You're doing speaking engagements. Your book, speaking engagement. You have all this stuff coming up, and then you doing it. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, make sure your first priority, which was the first business you started, which was the candles, is doing well, and then start to take that, because then you could take that money and sow it into creating a lounge or another business or another amount of income. You got to make sure one thing is solid before you transition to another. And I get it. I feel like Wendy probably has like FOMO, where she's just like, I don't want to miss out on anything. I just want to keep, doing things. But then once you spread yourself too thin and it starts to affect your business or your personal life, then you're the only person to blame because you didn't have to take those things. You could have said no. And Eddie is looking at her like, you can say no. I have a good job. You have your business endeavors. You could say no. But I just think Wendy wants to, maybe she has this perception of herself of being like a mogul in her head. And now that she's on this platform, she wants to run with it, which I don't fault her. But she needs to be realistic with this or she's going to make a lot of mistakes. That's just it. So let's move on to Giselle's and her twins, and then the some event like Karen is throwing. I think it's called Spring Fling, Spring something. Right, I don't know. So before we got to Giselle's house, because Giselle's trying to find an outfit for Karen's event, we first see Ashley at Uncle Lump's house, and she brought them kids. Them kids was wilding out. Them kids were climbing over everybody. You got Dean laying on top of Dylan. I was like, why the baby on the floor? Like, I was like, it was too much going on. And the thing is, like, I'm used to kids running around because my not in my immediate family, but my extended family is pretty big. And so I'm used to that. I'm used to kids running, playing, and everyone watching them. But normally it's like when the adults are talking or trying to have a serious conversation, like the older cousins go get the kids and take them outside so like they can have this serious conversation. Like everything, like it was so much chaos going on that like I would have been distracted. Like I would not have been paying attention to like what Ashley, like if I was Ashley paying attention to what her uncle or her mom had to say, like I'd have just been like, what's going on? What's going on? So they show up to Uncle Lump's house. I didn't understand why they was eating out of like to-go boxes. I was just like, y'all couldn't put that in some dishes. I don't know. Ashley just don't do it for me. Her family just like, it's not even her family. It's mainly that mama. Her mama has always like rubbed me the wrong way. Ever since Ashley exposed that her mom was living in a tent or living living destitute with a grown man with her sister and would not leave that man so Michael could put them up in an actual home because Michael said he wasn't taking care of a grown man. I've always looked at that lady like, So they're at Uncle Lump's house. The boys, like I said, they running amok in the kitchen, and they're basically having a conversation about Ashley. And what it boils down to is like Uncle Lump think Ashley is not taking this whole divorce situation serious because he doesn't understand why her and Michael are buying a house, as well as like he wants Ashley to be honest and smart about this, that like you need to get a lawyer, someone that knows what they're doing. And the mom is even like girl, why are you buying a house? And Ashley is like, well, and she kind of doesn't know what to say really, because maybe she didn't think she was gonna get this much pushback from her family, but they were just kind of looking at her like a deer caught in headlights, like what, like this doesn't make sense. But Ashley was just like, I got a lot of things to think about. So then we see Giselle at her house. I hate her home. The best thing about Giselle's house is the porch out back. Like that would be very serene to sit out there amongst the trees and like, listen to some music, watch a movie and stuff like that. But other than that, that house is like Frankenstein's project gone awry. Like I don't understand. And then someone on Twitter says Giselle's house looks like the Bad Girls Club house or the mansions that they were putting them in. And I can't get that out of my mind because now when I see Giselle's house, all I see is the sound, the intro pops in my head. What I want, yeah, I get it. That's right. Bad girls, what you gonna do? Bad girls, do. That's all that's stuck in my head because someone put the logo of Giselle's house when she was doing her house tour. And I was like, oh, her house is so horrid. But it does look like the Bad Girl's house with the mismatched floor, the walls. I was just like, girl, you could have different colors in your home, but they still kind of have to fit like a theme to me. Like there needs to be an underlining vibe throughout the house, and it never works for Giselle. It just seems tacky. But we end up seeing the twins. I can't remember their names. I think it's like Adore and Angel, but I'm not totally sure. But they're trying to help her pick out an outfit for Karen's spring party or spring whatever the thing is called. Karen ends up sending them tacos in a box with alcohol. And I was like, that has nothing to do with spring. I was like, is this Cinco de Mayo? Like, is it like, what are we doing? Like, is like I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, is it supposed to be Taco Tuesday? Like, I didn't get it. I thought it was funny when they did a flashback because I guess Robin was at Candace's house and Robin ate one of the tacos because she had real tacos in the box with this corny poem about nobody fighting. And Candace was like, Robin, don't eat it. And Robin ate it. And Candace was like, spit it out. Basically, Candace's whole thing was probably like, girl, we don't know how long that box been sitting on that porch. Or how long ago they made them tacos. Like, spit it out. Like a mom. It was funny. Because Robin just ate it. And Candace was like, oh my God. But, you know, it was cute. They called Robin. Robin's like, because not Candace, Giselle is like, what should I wear? Still, whatever, like the thing that the twins agreed that Giselle should wear was ugly. It was ugly. Like, it was ugly. Giselle just cannot dress to save her life. Like, she relies too much on being pretty. That just is like, girl, the face is great. Down below is horrible. And I need you to get it together. Because if we had to grade this whole outfit, it's a solid D. And the only thing that's saving you from an F is the face. And that doesn't say a lot because that should not be what it is. But everyone arrives. They arrive at Karen's party. We meet Jacqueline. We see a Scala. Everyone's there. I think next time we'll see Charisse and we'll see Katie and stuff like that. But everybody's there. The venue actually was like a little nice. It was nice, but I didn't like all the table covers were bothering me. But everybody's there and everybody's vibe is like pretty much like jovial. And Giselle and Karen talk. And Giselle is basically like, I don't believe Ashley. I think Ashley is lying to us about this divorce. And that's when Karen chimes in and says, I just think Ashley is trying to get a house. I think she's ready to move out that house. And I think she wants to move into the suburbs. Ashley pops up. I didn't understand the outfit. Like, it didn't have any spring colors. Ashley's titties was just out. I mean, she looked good in it and her hair looked nice. But I was just like, this outfit doesn't make sense to me, Ashley. It just doesn't. But Ashley is like, she tells us she had like a coochie craving for Michael, but she didn't sleep with Michael. I was like, ugh, that gremlin. That pasty gremlin. And she was just like, but then Ashley kind of like tries to renege and say that she's not divorcing Michael. They're separated. And then both Karen and Giselle are looking at her like, you're lying because that's not what you told us when we were having that picnic. And then they roll it back and it's like, yeah, that's not what you told them when you had the picnic. You did say you're getting a divorce. And then Ashley tries to clean it up by saying, you know, I'm fairly new to this process of getting a separation, and now it's getting to the point where I feel like maybe I'm making a mistake. And they kind of like backed up off of her. Then we see Candace and Chris come. And I peeped out Giselle was so happy to see Chris, but yet in a couple of episodes, you're going to say you was uncomfortable with him. I said, okay, Giselle, we see you. But, you know, they hug. Candace is saying she doing good. She was just talking to them and she was just kind of, I actually did like Candace's outfit. I just didn't like how high the shoulder pads were, but she did look cute. And I thought Chris looked good too. But they're having to talk to her. She was talking about how she's happy that Ashley is divorcing Michael. She was like, I'll throw her the divorce party. I want to get to know Ashley without that pasty demon. And I'm like, girl, you're not going to get to know her because she not leaving that man. She not leaving that man. So we see a Scala. Ugh, I wish a Scala would stay a friend of the show. But she looks so cute in her pink outfit. And then all of a sudden, Mia pops up. And we get the scene, F you, Giselle, from Mia. So basically, Giselle's like, oh, you look good. Is this what cancer looks like? Is this what cancer-free looks like? I said, Giselle. Girl, I just went for it. You ain't even trying to, like, sweeten it. You just say, is this what cancer looks like? Oh, but before then, Giselle already was on one, kind of. Because Wendy tries to give a hug to Giselle. And Giselle's like, don't touch me. We're good. You can say hi from over there. And then Wendy's like, she brushed me off like a flea. And I'll give Giselle this point. You've been talking about me like a dog. You did that all last season. But I was like, it was warranted, Giselle. You was doing a lot last season. And now you want to be like, hey. It's like, yeah, girl, it don't work that way. Like, if I was Wendy, I wouldn't even look at Giselle until we had a point where we had to speak to each other. I wouldn't say hi to her. So Wendy trying to be like, hey girl, I'm like, well, if y'all haven't talked or said sorry to each other, then what'd you expect, Wendy? Like, you came for her at the reunion, you came for her all season, and you came for, like, you read her down. Like, when you were just like, what kind of woman are you? Like, every man you're with leaves you. And you know that's a sore spot for Giselle. Even though Giselle tries to act like she's not male identified or male centered, she pretty much is when her children confirm that Giselle is a lot nicer when she has a man. So we know what it is. But I thought that was funny. But then let's get back to Mia and Giselle. So Giselle's like, oh my God, like, hey girl, like, not, hey Mia, is this what cancer free looks like? Mia's like, and you could tell Mia was taken back. And then they start talking about the conversation, and Robin pops up, and Giselle and Robin are like, girl, it came off attention seeking. Even Karen agreed. And Karen's like, whoa. I did not agree. I said I wouldn't go to social media, and I thought it was a little weird that you did that, but I did not say that it was attention seeking. And Karen didn't say that, even though she did agree with them, but she did not say those words. So everyone starts to walk up. You see Ashley pop up, and you see Candace and Wendy pop up. And then you see Mia be like, I've been through a lot. I've been through testing. And for you to say that I did that, F you, Giselle. F you for that. And then Giselle looking at her like, And then Karen is like, oh, okay. And then the episode ends there with to be continued. And I was just like, ooh, I'm excited. I feel like this season is actually going to be good because I feel like everybody's going to play, and I'm ready. I'm actually more interested to see why Mia and Jacqueline fell out, because you got Karen over here saying that Jacqueline defends Mia like hard, like they're best friends, like they ride or die for each other, to now y'all on the internet calling each other fake and phony and things of that nature. So I'm like, what happened? Who kicked it off? And I low-key think Giselle kicked it off because Jacqueline mentioned Giselle in her post. I feel like Giselle's gonna be the reason why Jacqueline and Mia don't like each other. But I'm here for it. I'm here for the shenanigans. I'm here for that moment. But yeah, y'all, remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below and give me your thoughts. Deuces.